Welcome to the Local Patch Project. Today we're following the winding path of the River Eden. Along the way we'll find out more about this fantastic landscape as well as meeting the people and the wildlife that make this place so special. The River Eden dominates the local landscape, meandering through farmland, park and city. It's the largest of the three rivers that flow through Carlisle, and it's a place for people to walk and enjoy some stunning scenery. The Eden is also home to a huge array of wildlife, such as sand martins and oyster catchers. The natural beauty of the River Eden was immortalised by Cumbrian poet William Wordsworth, one of the pioneers of the Romantic movement. He's most famous for his works about the Lake District, but he also wrote several poems celebrating the hidden wonders of Cumbria. But I have traced thee on thy winding way, with pleasure sometimes by this thought restrained. For things far off we toil, while many a good not sought, because too near is never gained. The River Eden has been, and continues to be, an important part of Carlisle's landscape for many people. One such person is Sarah Nixon, a local wildlife filmmaker. Sarah moved to Carlisle 5 years ago to attend university and has been watching the wildlife here ever since. I'm eager to find out more about her local patch. So Sarah, tell me, what does the River Eden mean to you?
I think it means a lot of different things. It's here for education, right? So you can come and you can learn, which is just great. But it's also here for a place where you can just be and you can escape the city and just hang out and relax and watch the world go by quietly, which is sometimes what you need.
What kind of wildlife have you seen here?
It's really cool actually, because you have these two great habitats. You have the river itself, which is great for things like ducks and birds that live on water, and then you have the banks and the trees, which is another great habitat for things like tits and birds that you'd see in the woodland. There's so much life and they complement each other.
What's been your favourite wildlife encounter on the River Eden?
Because there is so much life, it's so hard to pick one favourite wildlife encounter. But one of my favourite experiences has to be an interaction with a kingfisher that I had. Walking along the bank, they have a really distinctive call, and I found a spot where I knew that there was a high chance of them landing and perching. And I waited and I got this really nice shot of a kingfisher, and the frames either side there was no kingfisher, so it was a real fleeting sort of, I heard it first and it came and it stopped and I pressed the shutter and then it flew off straight away. So it was just one of those experiences where it was so short but it was so sweet.
Why do you think it's so important to have a local patch?
I think it is so important, of the highest importance, to have a local patch, because it gives you somewhere to be free and it gives you somewhere to be passionate about and to learn about and to enjoy. And I think that having a place where you can get to know the ins and outs and you can get to know bird families and mammals, and it's a learning experience, and it's so important to have somewhere that you feel so passionate about. The natural world is just such an important thing for us to preserve, because it's part of our lives and it's a main part of our lives, and actually if we were to lose that, then a lot of other things would be lost.
Thank you so much, I really enjoyed that. It was great to see everything.
You're so welcome, thank you for joining me.
It was so great to see so much wildlife on the river. It really is such a special place. As I continue downstream, I can see how many uses the land beside the river has. From farming to recreation to exercise. It's amazing to see the array of activities operating here. But these aren't the only uses for the river. A new project is taking shape on the riverbank, one that will benefit the local people and our pollinators. This is the Swifts, a 17-hectare site acquired from the Carlisle City Council by Cumbria Wildlife Trust to be transformed into an urban oasis for bees and for butterflies. This old golf course will be turned into wildlife meadows, species-rich wetland and native woodlands as part of their Get Cumbria Buzzing scheme. We're meeting Tanya St Pierre from Cumbria Wildlife Trust and James Hallam from Carlisle City Council to find out more about this very exciting project. So what's happening here at the Swifts?
It's a collaborative project between Carlisle City Council, who are the landowners, and Cumbria Wildlife Trust and their Get Cumbria Buzzing project. We're working to transform a former 9-hole golf course and driving range, which is in the centre of the city, into a urban nature reserve with a particular focus on providing habitat for pollinating insects.
So James talked a bit about Get Cumbria Buzzing. What is that project? Can you tell me more about that?
Get Cumbria Buzzing is an ambitious and innovative project. It's a 3-year project. Their main driving aim is to create and restore 115 hectares of pollinator-friendly habitat across northwest Cumbria. Now that's specifically along corridors of habitat. So we're looking to do that work on the ground and work with a wide range of partners, including Carlisle City Council, to deliver that work.
Why do our pollinators need help?
Over the last 50 years of my lifetime, we've seen a 50% decline of pollinators, and what we really need to do is address that now so we don't see further decline. So by putting habitat back on the ground, we can support our pollinators into the future.
It's part of the council's aims is to maximise habitat value of our sites. We have a lot of formal maintained parkland, which is excellent for amenity value for residents but doesn't necessarily offer excellent habitat.
What wildlife are you hoping to see here?
Well, this habitat is great because we've got the river running through, it's River Eden, so we've got lots of wetland here, and we're hoping to create grass and habitat as well, and obviously we have these wonderful trees. So we're looking for a whole wide variety of pollinators, from both common to rare, to visit the site and have it as their home.
This project sounds amazing, so if people want to get involved, what can they do?
I think in the short term this year, perhaps towards autumn and early winter time, I think there might be some opportunities for volunteering. Possibly in the longer term, I think there's some aspirations for the site to be more of an educational resource to students and children within the district.
One thing that people can do is just simply record what they see on their phones. There's a really simple app called iNaturalist, and they can upload different species that they see, and all those records, whether it's from the Swifts or whether from anywhere in Carlisle or across Cumbria, those records, which are really important for us, go to our biodiversity data centre, and then we can get a handle on how many different species we have in Cumbria.
Thank you so much for your time. This project sounds so exciting, and I just can't wait to come back and see it when it's all done. The River Eden is a very special environment, and as we've seen, it's home to some incredible wildlife. But the Eden faces some tough challenges faced by many of our rivers. According to research done by the Environment Agency, only 14% of England's rivers are ecologically sound, and not a single one meets standards for pollution. This might seem like an overwhelming statistic, but there's plenty that we can do to help our local rivers. The biggest issue is litter. The main thing you can do, of course, is to make sure you dispose of your rubbish properly when you're out and about. And if there's no bin, you must take it all home with you. But another way you can help is by reducing the amount of rubbish you produce in the first place. Most of the litter along the Eden is single-use plastic. By making a couple of lifestyle changes, like using a reusable water bottle or a container, you're already helping our rivers stay that bit cleaner. Another thing you can do is volunteering. If you live in Carlisle, you can get involved with the Eden Rivers Trust, who do some amazing work to help the rivers in the Eden catchment. They have a range of projects you can get involved with, such as habitat creation, water quality testing, and invasive species removal. And of course, just getting out and enjoying your rivers is such a great thing to do, like going for a walk. Sadly, we've now come to the end of our walk. Although the journey is over for us, the River Eden still has several miles to go westwards before it empties out into the Solway Firth and the Irish Sea. It's been fantastic to learn more about the people and wildlife along just a small stretch of this magnificent river. I hope that you've enjoyed coming with us along the way, and perhaps we've inspired you to go out and enjoy your own local rivers. They're absolutely wonderful places. But thank you so much for joining us. Goodbye.